Hello everyone, welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about the mentality of the realm, player hiatuses, and the causes. And for this show, we have a guest that comes on once a month, but before we introduce him, I'm sure you already know who he is. I am one of your hosts, Michael Mr. Happy Poveromo, and of course, joining me as usual is Sly, aka Slythefox, aka Slyakagreyfox, aka you, my boy Blue. Tell him hello real quick, Sly.
Hello, everyone. I'm mad I didn't get a nickname this week. I'm kind of used to it now.
I moved it over to Ethys.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, Ethys on the show this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
introduction.
That's Ethys' introduction.
Good
And
my job.
And joining us as a guest is Ethys Minuteman Asher right now. He's moved. He's no longer the Moon Man. He's the Minuteman.
Yeah, that's a dick joke.
Thanks, Ethys. Thanks.
Sly, you complain when you do get nicknames. You complain when you don't get nicknames. What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm just kind of
pick a lane.
You're like the abused wife. You're like the abused wife who, like, when she doesn't get abused, she's just like
syndrome.
She's worried if something's wrong.
Does he not love me anymore? What did I do, Mike? What did I do?
Pissed off everyone on YouTube by having opinions, Sly. That's what you did.
Antanius, yeah, it's State of the Realm is my period. We line it up with my period every time for maximum saltage.
Maximum saltage. Okay, I like it. You're not even from America, so the NA doesn't apply to you. All right. So, on that note, we are going to be almost sort of elaborating on a topic we covered last week, where last week we kind of introduced a lot of different games to the community, and we were just basically talking about players who are looking for something to tide them over till 3.1. But we want to go a little bit deeper into that. You know, we want to talk about, you know, the development team, the breaks that they took. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Players are obviously taking a hiatus from the game until 3.1. Can we agree with that?
We can agree.
It's common attitude. Like, a lot of people are kind of agreeing on this.
I wouldn't say it's common, but there's a handful. I mean, I wouldn't say
handful.
Noisy.
What is that, like LeBron James' hand? That's a big handful.
In comparison to the whole community, it's pretty much a handful.
Well, but a lot of people are figuring, you know, if the game doesn't have content for me, I'm going to voice my concerns, or I'm going to take a break to the game until it catches up to what I want to do. It's kind of always been that way, though, the way they design the patches, hasn't it? The way they do even and odd, hardcore progression, casual progression, hardcore progression, casual progression.
Yeah.
Safe to say that?
Yeah, it's safe to say.
Well, I mean, so there's obviously a lot of players. They're going to keep this game going. They're going to continue to subscribe regardless of whether or not there's content in the game. I mean, some of us, I don't know how about you guys, I pay for like 6 months of subscription at a time. Do either of you do that?
Monthly.
I think I do 3 months.
Damn, Sly with the monthly. Yeah. You're not trying to save money over there.
Sly's got to have an out. He's got to have an escape plan. He's always got to have a bathroom window open.
There you go. It's a bathroom window. I would close it.
My bathrooms don't even have windows.
Oh my god.
Well.
I would never want to stay the night at your house then.
Ooh.
Really? It's a freaking townhouse. Are you... Okay.
You know what I
mean. How do you escape when you think you're getting date raped? If you don't have a bathroom window, Sly.
The man cave has windows.
Okay. But you have to get out of the bathroom to get there. That's
no.
All right, so a lot of these players, they play as time permits. They continue to find joy in whatever aspect of the game, you know, whether it be raiding, crafting, gathering, socializing, maximizing all areas of content, completionists. We've covered a lot of this in fragments without really delving too deep into it. But, I mean, all these players, regardless of what they're into, they help make up the entire community of the game, whether or not they seem like they're part of separate parts of communities. Without them, we don't have an MMO that's quality. So, why don't we go over a few points of debates with our opinions and observations, and we're going to note we aren't forcing people to agree with us on these things. You know, I think that should go without saying, but it really doesn't. It's the internet, right?
It never does.
Only,
Yes, because we're putting a gun to everybody's head saying, believe us.
We are right and you are wrong. But we just want to cover how we view the current, well, for lack of a better word, state of the realm. Ethys does not approve.
I see what you did there.
That's a joke that's been 33 weeks coming. And
Well, I'm sorry, Miztek's in the chat, so I had to make a pun. Like,
oh, what's up, Miss Tickle?
That energy just like fed through. And I was like, pun. There we go.
She's sitting there at her desk going, "Don't do it, pun." Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about what kinds of players there are. I mean, okay, so we're gonna break this down into one very specific area. There are those that loyally contribute subscriptions to the game. Continuously, regardless of what's going on. They plug away at various types of content just because they're paying, so they might as well do something, right? And then there's people who remove their subs because they're only interested in certain aspects, whether that be, you know, rating or, you know, upgrading their character or leveling for whatever reason. Is there any reason why people would, I guess, continue their sub if they aren't interested in the game? Is this considered like a normal thing, an acceptable thing? Or do you guys think it's a normal thing to unsub when you're uninterested in what's going on?
Well, we've had the whole casual versus hardcore conversation, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. Okay. But I've seen firsthand a lot of the people who are unsubbing just because they're mainly into in-game content. They're done with it. They've done all of Savage. They're done with it. Like, that's just a small percentage there because a lot of people are still working on Savage. I'm still part of the spectrum that's raiding. I'm still getting gear. I'm still capping SOs every week. I'm still gathering. I'm still crafting. Don't believe it. I mean, in the meantime, I still do have time to play other games. But that doesn't deter my loyalty or, you know, my support for 14. I still play 14. I still have raid. I still have all these things I could be doing in 14, and I still play.
But what about the people who aren't Ethys? So Ethys, let me get your side of it. So what do you think? There's the group of people that will play and continue to pay regardless, and there are people who will stop their sub as soon as they are uninterested. What do you think?
Well, my I guess introduction to sub loyalty for this game was in 2.0. I was playing with a lot of friends who were saying things like, there's hardly any end game content. You know, there's no point subbing to this. I'll come back when there's a little bit more content. And basically what I would tell them then, particularly then, and this may or may not be a relevant point now, I was like, look, if you stop subbing now, then there won't be any content. Then it'll go free to play and it'll fall on its fucking face like every other MMO that comes out at release with less endgame content than World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? So back in 2.0, I considered it kind of like a green light project, you know what I mean? It's like you look at the base game, it's really, really solid. There's a lot of potential. It's mechanically sound. It feels great. It looks great. Let's invest in it. Let's put some money into it, and we will be getting that content down the road. Whether that's still, 2 years later, whether that's still a relevant argument, I really don't know. I have a lot of sympathy for people who are saying now, like, oh, this isn't good enough, and 5 months is too long. But at the same time, I think it still stands. If everyone unsubs every time there's a content lull, then the money's going to dry up,
It is true, and this is brought up in the chat. Yoshi P himself did say he expects people to unsub. Like, he literally flat out said, I expect people to unsub when there's something they're uninterested in. The beauty of it is, most of the time they come back. What about that? What about that idea? The idea that you're unsubbing, but you're not unsubbing for good. You're unsubbing because what's in the game currently doesn't interest you. So you have every intention of coming back. Does that maybe apply a little bit more at this point? I know, Sly, you wanted to get in on that, so I'll let you take that first.
I mean, it's calculated. There's going to be times when when we get this patch, we're probably going to kind of breeze through it, get through all the stuff, probably be working on relic and stuff, but eventually we're going to hit a lull again. We're eventually going to hit that place where we've gone through all the content we can. We're kind of in this boring state, and we're just looking for something to pass the time. And a lot of people are going to vote with their wallets what they're going to do with to pass the time. I mean, and we'll talk about this later. It's all about like finding your own fun, finding what you find enjoyable in the game. In times like this, some people will, some people won't. Again, you're going to vote with your wallet.
What about you, Ethys?
Well, it is natural to get these lulls, like we're saying. It happens, almost every patch. I feel like that for at least some of the people who are making some noise. I know there's a lot of people that are like really, properly, legitimately concerned about this. But I feel like for at least some of the people that are complaining, it's like 2 months with no content or 3 months with no content. It's sort of like expected of an MMO. And, if you bitch and moan about it, then you're kind of being a douchebag. Whereas...
that's why we love Ethys on the show.
If it's 5 months, then suddenly it's justified. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's the same people that are complaining every time, but now they've sort of got a little bit more fuel and a little bit more sort of, a little bit more justified. And that's not everyone. I do personally know people who are really like, oh look, I've done everything, I've leveled everything, I've finished Savage. There's just nothing in the game for me at the moment, and that's legit. But you know what I'm saying? I think there's a little bit of that drama going on.
Well, I mean, you brought up the fact that the patch is delayed. Something how long has it been since they said it was going to be like later than people expect? Like people were expecting middle of October, saying that was too late, and then what was it? It's now been 3 weeks since they said?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah,
and we're still impatient.
And we're still just as impatient. But, I mean, we have to kind of look at Square Enix as a business, don't we, when it comes to things like this? So, gaming companies have delay all the time. I think at least 4, maybe 5 AAA titles in the past year or so have undergone some form of delay to polish up the product. When a single-player game does it, it's acceptable because people aren't paying a subscription. But, so we've been making a joke on the show about how it's late because they took a vacation. Not our words, Yoshi P's. He's like, we took a vacation after Heaven's Word because we put so much time into it, we had no time for a personal life. But that's not the only thing that goes into these delays, is it?
No. There's planning.
Personal life.
What's so funny about that?
Oh, it just makes me want to send Yoshi P an email saying, Final Fantasy XIV, that's our personal life.
Pretty much, that's what he's saying. They had no personal life because they were. That's it. Soken called it Hell's Word for a reason.
Oh, he had a lot of work to do. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, and you have to keep in mind that even if the development team isn't directly involved in something, like you may not see them there, preparing it for events like PAX and Tokyo Game Show for live letters, all of that takes away time from development too. It's kind of like a lost sense. That when there's a lot of big gaming events, developers have deadlines for within the company, and they also have to submit content. They have to go out of their way to record something or give up certain information, decide what do we give them, what do we not. They have to have meetings for that kind of stuff. It's not as simple as, oh, well, we're not there, so it doesn't affect development time at all. Especially live letters. Like, live letters, I never really thought about it until, like, a week ago. That has to take away at least 3 or 4 days, if not more, of development time just to prep for that live letter. Like,
you really think it's 3 or 4 days?
Not 3 or 4 days of absolutely nothing.
Maybe 3 or 4 days of like 1 or 2 people.
Well, here's the thing, because they all go there to the live letter. They're all at the live letter.
Yeah, they are all there. Yeah.
They all have to have meetings, again, decide, what's the order this gets reviewed in, what's revealed in, what's the order this. Obviously, it's not 3 or 4 full days, but at least for a couple of hours a day, they are taking time away from development just to work on having something to present.
But that really, in all honesty, I feel like the live letters are just basically production meetings. They're just basically updating you on what we're doing, or what they're doing, what's in store, what we have in store, things like that. It just seems like that could be cranked out a little bit quicker. They could probably crank that out. That's probably their production meeting. They're just giving us their production meeting, telling us the same thing they're telling themselves on the 18th floor. I don't know. It just doesn't seem that it should take 3 to 4 days just to crank out a live letter.
What do you think?
Well, it's something that we've wanted and we've expected from them, right? And it's this whole issue with the fact that they're always trying to please everyone all the time, is that we want them to be approachable. We want to be able to give them feedback. We want to be able to communicate with our development team. And that's something that's not an industry standard, and it's something that a lot of people have kind of praised them for. And at this point, they kind of feel obligated to put some work into that, because it's something that we feel like really sort of sets them above, and something that we really respect them for. I guess anticipating one of the major rebuttals to this issue is, why don't they just hire more staff? They've got the same team, I think, as they did in 2.0, and they're making a shitload more money, and they've got 4 million more subs than they did. Why not put some more staff on?
That's a big question.
Is there a reason not to? Because they haven't done it, so there's obviously a reason not to. Is it because they just want to all get rich and buy nice houses?
I mean, but logically speaking, in terms of the lulls, well, not really the lulls or the delay, or just the delays, it takes time. It's going to take time to work on this content. They already have a plan in place. They already have a release window in place, and sometimes it's not going to meet the release window. I mean, Square showed us at FanFest how much time it takes into job/class creation. That's like, what was it, Happy? 2 years, I think?
Said it takes a full year worth of work just to implement one new job.
So who's to say how much time it's going to take for a single patch? It could be shorter. It definitely is shorter. But now that we know that they actually do take vacation time and they do have personal days, we're putting that into the mix. We're putting that into.
I like how that was never a consideration before.
It never was.
Suddenly, we think that they're taking vacations, and
yeah, I mean, because
and it occurred to us.
Because we never really thought about it until they said
right.
it.
No, you're right. You are right.
We never really thought about, well, how hard do they work on this damn game, and we don't know when they have any personal time. But I feel like as a majority, the community has this sense of instant gratification. We want content and we want it as soon as possible. But at the same time, when we get this content, we're going to blaze through it and then get bored again. So it's really, honestly, an endless cycle. I don't think it's ever going to stop. I don't think it would stop even with more staff. You're still going to have this endless cycle of, we want content. You get the content. You go through it. Now what do? We want
so you reckon
content.
even if we get more content, people are still going to blaze through it, and they're still going to be sitting on there going, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, and you spoke about it because, like, not everybody's going to be happy. And Square Enix, I'll be honest, they're kind of people pleasers. They want to please everyone, but not everybody's going to be happy.
Well, I mean, the other thing to take into account when we're talking about this delay is, I mean, this is happening, I believe, this week, is the European data centers are finally coming out. Now, that's, again, not something that you'd expect to affect development, but when the game first came out, I remember them saying it got delayed a month because of us trying to fix the network issues, the server issues when the game first came out. If that could affect it, I don't see why this couldn't. Wanting to make sure that maybe the Europeans have a quality server and that's not complete shit before they implement the next patch. They have a 2-week buffer time.
Here's the thing. If I was in their PR, that's what I would have said. I mean, even if it's not true, I wouldn't have mentioned the word holiday. I would have said, we need more time to implement the European data center, and that's going to take us a little bit longer than we were expecting. They didn't really say that was the problem, did they?
No, but I don't.
They should have.
I honestly think them mentioning holiday, it kind of humanizes them, and they're already human. But we, as a community, most of us, just see them as they're giving us the content. They like just give us the content, please. We don't really. Until now, we never really looked at the dev team as people, as normal hardworking people. They have lives just as we do, even though most of our lives are this game. But they have lives just like we do, and they're people. they're gonna like. I don't like. It's hard to say how much time Yoshi P gets off, how much time Soken gets off. You were just saying like he considers this Hell's Ward because of all the stuff he had to do. So I applaud them for bringing to the table that they're actual just everyday people just like us. This is their job. And every now and then, as hard as they've been working on Heaven's Ward, they're gonna need a break.
But Yoshi P is a fucking rock star. I mean, that's been
look at all those rings.
The driving, that's been the driving force behind the game's sort of public image. Is the idea that Yoshi's not a regular dude. He's a fucking rock star. He's a genius. He's he doesn't need breaks. He just keeps going and going and going and going and going. He's got so much energy and so much charisma. And him saying, "Oh, I need a break," it doesn't really inspire confidence in a lot of people. And some people can sympathize with that, definitely. But other people like, yeah, well, I have to work every day. I don't get to take a break just because, I did a big project and made a shitload of money in the last couple of weeks. Full sympathy for him. I'm just looking at the other side of it.
But if you tell somebody they can't take a vacation, ever, what are they going to reply?
They're going to reply, how much am I getting paid?
Yeah, fuck this.
Yeah. I'd reply, fuck you. No.
I'm taking my vacation. Just for that, my vacation starts right now.
Mike, when was the last time you took a vacation? I mean, you work 70 hours a week. When was the last time you took a vacation? If you said, I'm going to take a 2-week vacation and I'm not going to release any videos.
So the next thing we're talking about here. So basically, do you think it was unavoidable 3.1 in particular got delayed with all they were trying to do at the same time? With the events that came by, the servers, with them trying to be human for once. Do you think it was unavoidable that this kind of...
Unavoidable? I mean, again, this is me playing kind of devil's advocate, but because I'm not on the 18th floor, I don't know what their kind of schedule is. It may or may not have been possible. Even with the release window that we have, people are still unhappy with the time and the content. So, plus, given the content that they were already, planning and working on for months on end, personally speaking, I'm going to say it was unavoidable. In the end, they have to decide what gets released, what gets put on the back burner, what's going to get released soon. They had that decision making. We don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can influence it. We as a community can influence it, but in the end, it's their decision. So I'm just going to say it was unavoidable.
Ethys?
I think we need to come back to the idea of man hours. I mean, we can say it's unavoidable. Why didn't they just hire some people to work while they were taking a break? Is there things that Yoshi P and that everyone on board they can do that other people couldn't do, that they couldn't hire other people to do? So because there's got to be a reason why they haven't hired a bunch more staff.
Are we in a way playing the labor union for Square Enix? Are we the labor union for Square Enix?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Because it feels like we're being the labor union for Square Enix, deciding how many man hours they work, when they're gonna get vacation, when I'm raising it because it's the only thing that's come close to like a legitimate rebuttal that I've seen on Reddit or any other social media at the moment is people saying, well, they're overworked, they've got a much bigger workload, they've also got a lot more disposable cash to throw around, presumably. Obviously, they're putting more resources into patches now than they were 2 years ago. But why not hire more people? Is it a pride thing? They don't want it to like get out of their hands. They're just sort of, are they just sort of arrogant? And they're like, no, this is our baby. We don't want to let anyone else touch it. Do they have certain skills that they don't think anyone else has? There's got to be a reason.
Well, okay, so I'm thinking back to... By the way, apologies for Ethys going a little bit pixely. Looks like his face is frozen in a pretty interesting position. Right?
Oh, yeah, I'm frozen.
Don't.
He looks very...
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
We can still hear you.
All right, that's fine then. Whatever.
All right. Okay, there we go. Now the camera's resetting. So I remember something I learned about going into the workforce in a business class, and part of it had to do with making a project that nobody could replace you on. You wanted to make yourself irreplaceable to the company, but you didn't want to, like, for example, with coding, write a code that nobody else could work with. Because then the next guy comes along, if you want to hire more people, guess what? Now not only do they need to know how to do the code in general, but they need to know how to work your specific code because it's some sort of unique beast in some way. They may have worked themselves into a situation where that's exactly where it is. They don't have the time to sit there and train a new employee or even just teach somebody who's new in the industry because they've done something internally that just creates a whole separate process. It's no longer just a matter of hiring more people.
And would we honestly, as the consumers, would we honestly give them that time? Could you say that we would honestly, as like collectively, give them that time to, you know, kind of bring somebody in to kind of change things up while, you know, kind of waiting, as the consumers waiting for this to happen? Do you think we would really give them that time? I don't think we would.
Well, how much of a delay would it create compared to the delay that we get for them not having enough people? I mean, they could say to us, all right, we need train a bunch of new people, but as a result of that, all of our subsequent patches will be on point. Whereas now, that it might...
And we lost Ethys. I was waiting for it to happen.
Oh!
I had a feeling that we were going to lose Ethys any second there. But it's okay because we have that face right there. So one day Ethys will be able to tell us exactly what he thinks. But today is not that day, it seems. I'm sure he's trying to get back on the call any second here. I was literally, I don't know about you, Sly, I was literally sitting here waiting for Ethys to get booted from the call because it was just down and down and down.
Yeah, I heard the skips. I heard the skips a little bit, and then eventually it just bit it.
That's fine. So Sly, I'm gonna bring the next question to you then to start while Ethys does whatever he needs to do. So what is your personal advice for players? So they temper time away with more casual gameplay or filling their time with other games like we were talking about last week, or should they just stay loyal? You know, as you know, some people on YouTube have suggested that if you really enjoy the game, regardless of the content levels, you'll support it. Which side are you on? Wait. I'm sorry. Stupid moon Wi-Fi is the best comment in the live stream. Okay, so your answer.
Sorry. All right, so people are going to vote with their wallets. That's just all said and done. If they truly didn't like the game, if we all really didn't like this game, then we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here right now talking about it. From a financial standpoint, if you're done with content or you're burned out, then sure, you have that option to unsub and then come back whenever you feel like it. But who's to say that they won't, like the people who unsub will come back and do the same thing? They'll burn through the content and you know, say, oh God, I'm bored, nothing to do, and then unsub again. Again, this game is really about choice, not within the game itself, but like outside of the game. What you choose to do, in game, and you know if you're going to stay. So ultimately, I really don't have a side because it's ultimately up to you, the consumer, what you want to do. Do you want to stay? Do you want to, you know, work on some other stuff that you haven't worked on in a while? Do you want to just focus on other, you know, not really focus, but, you know, go catch up on your backlog of games or whatnot, or just play something in the meantime? That's ultimately your choice. I can't pick a side. I really can't pick a side. I still have raid. Like I said, I still have stuff to do. I still am crafting and gathering. I'm staying. I mean, it's not gonna make you any less of a supporter or any less loyal if you unsub. You sub for a reason. You played this game for a reason, and you're probably gonna come back. So, I mean, that's just my time. Most likely.
Yeah. So while Ethys fixes his internet, we're just gonna put the State of the Realm screen up. I actually had to fix your camera because as soon as he had dropped from the call, like you were all over the place. So hopefully we can get. Oh, is he back?
Sorry, guys.
Oh wait. I gotta see this. I gotta see if I can see you. Okay. Oh, okay. There, I can see you. What happened at this? Talk to us.
Well, basically, I spent so much time with my computer that our periods align, and having a bad day.
All right. Ethys' computer is having a bad day, guys. And now I'm going to have to fix... Well, now we could just have Sly and Ethys. Look, they can share a little section over there until they're sure if it's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah. I mean, you guys will see it, because I don't feel like fixing you every time in case it's...
Is he this way or that way?
You're on the left. See? Your camera's already gone.
That's one small step for Ethys.
One giant step for Australia's internet.
Wow.
Oh,
Best friends forever. Best friends forever.
Snoochie.
Woo!
Ring.
My buddies. I got my buddy.
So sorry those watching it live, even if you're watching it on YouTube. I'm gonna leave them both in the same box for the time being, just because if I have to constantly take time to bring Ethys back into the box below, and then if his camera goes and then it comes back, and if that keeps happening, we're gonna be here forever, pretty much. So I'm just gonna leave it as is until we have some consistency. All right, so Ethys, you weren't able to hear the question, so I'll just throw it your way real quick. Based on what we were just talking about, the delay of the patch, what is your personal advice? Should people temper time away with more casual gameplay or filling their time with other games, or should they just stay loyal to the game because they already know they're going to come back and play it? You know, that's what some commenters on YouTube have been suggesting, that if you like the game, you should stay loyal to it. And I know I just heard your opinion about 2 years ago, but what about now?
Oh, geez, man. I mean, you do you. I think that people who want to keep subbing, if that's sort of, economically not a big problem for you, then great, awesome, you're supporting the game. And the people that are paying for the game, even while they're not playing, they're fucking heroes, and everyone should be super grateful. That said, it's an unnecessary expense. A lot of people are living on a budget, and it doesn't make sense for them to be, for paying for something that they're not using or that they're not currently into. So yeah, take it off. Go play another game. Go play the Battlefront beta. Go play Blade and Soul. Go play fucking Fallout 4 or Metal Gear Solid 5. There's so many new games out at the moment, and we're gonna miss them because we don't play anything else.
Chad is asking if you two can kiss because now you're in like the same box.
Which side is? Hang on, let me have a look at which. You're over here.
Yeah.
Over that way. You're smoochy.
No, he's the other way. He's the other way. I had to do it, yeah, because at this you still sound like shit. So I'm leaving you in that box forever at this rate.
Fuck yeah.
Don't put him in the box.
He's staying in the box with you. You're sharing the box. I get my own box. I ain't got to worry about shit. That's it. There you go. All right, so regarding to the people who may not be as patient as we are with the patch, is there anything wrong with being impatient? I mean, like we kind of spoke about instant gratification gaming before. Is that an issue, or is it just an evolution? Like, because the culture has pretty much shifted from days where people had people had times to play games in real time all the time, and they had time to grind for levels gear, but the pace at which the world spins feels like it's gotten faster in the years with the way technology has evolved. So is there anything wrong with being an instant gratification gamer?
I honestly think there's something wrong with being, that instant gratification gamer. This generation of gaming, we become this spoiled, bratish generation who wants everything and we want it now. And when we get it and it's not everything that we hope for, we get mad. We, bitch at the developers like, this is shit. Well, this is what you got. If you were patient, you would get a more polished product. And so I'm all for wishful thinking and, hoping that things will come out sooner. But I also want a polished product. Like, case in point, Persona 5. Next summer. We were expecting it this year, next summer. I'm disappointed, but I'm not mad. I want to see a really good Persona game. So I'm not going to sit there and complain, oh, we didn't get it this year. I'm not going to complain. Like, if it's a game you truly, honestly love and are loyal to and believe in, then give your devs the time to polish the game, refine it, make sure there's not anything wrong with it. And everything will come out just fine. Just don't be a spoiled brat.
Damn.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Don't be a spoiled brat.
Hard line. I mean, I do kind of agree with you. However, I think what we need to understand is that this sort of instant gratification culture, it's bye. I'm back. And it's a reciprocative thing, right? So on one hand, we're wanting things to come out quickly. We're wanting short quests. We're wanting quest markers. We're not wanting to have to grind. But that's what the industry has been giving us. We're asking for a juice bottle, and we're constantly being given a juice bottle. It's a 21st century problem. We've got to take responsibility for it. Sure, we're impatient. However, the industry panders to it, and they're responsible for it as well. If you want a game that sells, that's just what you have to do now. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I think it's one of those things that it's such a cultural responsibility rather than something that we've done or something that they've done or any particular person has done. It's just something we've got to accept. That's where the industry is now.
But, okay, so this brings us to the next question. Like, what do you prefer? As a consumer, as a gamer, what do you prefer? Like, having content with a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, and you get it sooner, or more complete content while just, having to wait? This, again, is where I believe that people are going to be unhappy either way. Like, if you get, even if you get a polished product, there are going to be a percentage of people who are going to be unhappy. It's a choice whether developers constantly have to make. And good developers, the really good developers, will choose the latter, and they'll, put out a polished product with complete content and not have to deal with a bug. There might still be a few, but not as much as if you just rushed it. Naturally, you can't have both. You can't have both a really quickly released product and it being polished. If you are, you're a damn good developer. But I mean, and happen Ethys, I pose this to you. What do y'all prefer?
Real quickly before you answer that, Ethys, can you try resetting your microphone real quick? I don't know if there's like wind or it's just the sound of your internet. Because there's no, that's okay. We'll figure out a way. I'll also have to dial it back, I guess, on a program or something. Yeah, because it's like it's definitely having its period, as you were saying.
I'll try my headset mic.
I think that's I think it might just be like literally your internet is making sounds. The sounds of the moon.
All right, how's that? Is that any better?
That sounds a million times better.
Yes.
Awesome. Excellent. So, what's the question?
All right, what do you prefer? Having more content with more glitches and a fast release schedule, or more complete content while having deadlines that are further apart?
So we're talking about whether we can have both. You know what we can have both of? We can have a game that takes a really long time to release and is still full of bugs.
That is possible.
And some of my favorite games, like you think of the Elder Scrolls franchise, they're both really polished and really sort of big titles, and they're also really buggy. And in a weird way, the bugs make it kind of endearing. But this is a thing that Square Enix has had a problem with again since 2.0, is that they want things to be really, really published before it comes anywhere near us. They don't want to do any beta testing. People complaining about like the way Bard plays, people complaining about PvP and stuff like that. They just give it to us when they think it's finished. They're not happy to release it before they think that it's finished and it's perfect. You know what I mean? And it's a weird attitude.
Happy, what about you?
I'm always willing to wait longer for a better product. And as to whether or not it can be both, I think it can be, but the amount of work that's going to have to go into it to make sure that it's both, that's tough. Because no matter what you think you're doing that's right, something's going to happen that's just going to be wrong in the end.
So you think you can have a quickly released product and it's going to be the quality that you would get from a product that they take the time with?
I guess quickly is not the right word. Something like a regularly paced schedule, not something like, oh, I expect something every 2 weeks, or I expect something every month. No, I mean, to me, 3 months is kind of quick, and I'm impressed that they did that for as long as they did while giving us a mostly polished product. I mean, look at class balance in the game. You know, the way they've designed it. How well has that gone compared to everything else? The only thing people really still complain about, Paladin, Astro, and Monk, and that's only because the fights don't really call for those specific tools. That's a fight thing, not a class thing, for the most part. I'm impressed with what they've kept up with. It's never going to be perfect forever. I don't think it's, I'm not willing to accept that it'll be perfect forever. There are issues with 3.0. There'll probably be issues with 3.1. I think we can have both. I think that it's extremely difficult to do, though. And I'm more or less always on the side of, if it takes longer, as long as it's polished, I'm down. Yeah.
What about this? Because you're talking about how impressive it's been that they've been able to be consistent for such a long time. What if since 2.0 we'd have every patch at 5 months rather than at 3 months? Do you think there would have been a lot of noise about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people would have gotten used to it in a way. I mean, 5 months is a long time.
Okay.
But I feel like it's the inconsistency here that's bothering people.
Yeah, I want to pose you a question. Okay. When we say every 5 months, is it the same content coming every 5 months, or are there extra things in that 5 month period? Like, are we still only getting 4 bosses in Coil? Like, let's say if we were on the schedule, are we still only getting, that one 8-man raid? Are we still only getting 1 difficulty at the time? Are we only getting a primal patch? Are we getting 2 now? Are we getting more story? Like, what's filling that 2 month gap?
Are we getting more content for 3.1 than we have for any other patch?
I'd like to think we're getting more unique content in a sense.
Okay,
but not in terms
what
of
about
quantity.
more? If there were patches more like 3.1. If there were those sort of 5 month patches, if that was the consistent thing, do you think people would have been hanging around, or you think they would have been complaining every couple of months about it?
I still think people would have been complaining. I think that literally you would need more quantity if you're going to give them more time. Like, that's the outlook generally. And Yoshi P said we can't have a release schedule that's that far off. Like, occasionally, yeah, there's going to be a delay on something, but he said, we're not like World of Warcraft. We can't just be like we can't just accept that we
see
have
you in
these,
11 months.
Yeah, we can't just accept that we have these fans that will be there for us no matter what. We need to constantly be making content, or people will leave. That is outright the way that they looked at it, which is why they've succeeded, because they've literally not just been like, well, we'll be fine. They never did it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's the age-old quantity versus quality debate, and with that time frame, people still would have probably complained. It's just a matter of it's just a matter of the time frame. Do you really, are people going to wait that long? And if people had to wait that long, the amount of stuff, the amount of content that we're getting in each of those patches in 5 months, you said, they're going to ask for more. You're eventually going to get people to say, well, we want more. You want it again, going back to the instant gratification. We want it now. But in this situation, you're going to get people who ask for more eventually. They're not going to really get used to it. I mean, with this consistency, well, it's not really consistency. It's a little bit inconsistent, but I'm used to it. Again, this is my first real MMO. I'm content. I'm really content with the content. Wow. Yeah, but I'm content. I'm content with what we shut up. I'm content with what we have, and I'm not really asking for more, because I know I'm going to get it in a timely manner. I think the patches are being released in a timely manner. 3 months, 2 months, that's not that bad. I can wait.
So if we're talking about patches that are more like 3.1 with this whole 5-month schedule, is it more content that's considered not progression in these patches that we're talking about? Because we have to remember, patches like 3.1 are what we like to call catch-up patches, where those who weren't able to obtain the highest item level gear can now obtain them. And there's tools like that, like the relic quests, like the new 24-man raid, the ability to get materials that were only in the end raid before. You have new extreme primals, which is another option for people when they first get to the point. That extreme primal is not meant to be progression for Savage. That's meant to be people who just beat Ravana. That's what it's being designed for.
Yep.
When we talk about adding new content, are they maybe going a little bit too much in this direction of let's make these mini games, let's make this system for crafters and gatherers that makes them more like battle classes with the weekly capping, whereas they could just develop content that people can just outright play and leave the things that people were enjoying, mostly still with some minor adjustments along the way.
Isn't it all about choice? I mean, isn't that the beauty of the game, that you can play whatever the fuck you want, however the fuck you want? So I applaud and I agree with Square Enix in terms of creating a game that sort of caters to every single type of player. So if you want to call like the little mini games fluff, that's fine. We could take a little bit of fluff. I mean, it's something for everyone. So I don't have a problem with patches like that, as opposed to patches just focused on a single type of player.
Well, okay, then let me pose this to Ethys with that in mind. Do you think the game hurts or helps itself by having content that is focused on everyone instead of taking something it's good at and focusing on that? An example being, let's say you add one piece of content for crafters, one for gatherers, one for raiders, one for hardcore raiders, one for casual raiders, one for middlecore raiders. You give all these separate options, but that's not enough for any of the individual parties as a whole, as opposed to developing content for a niche player and focusing on that type of player. Which do you think they could benefit more from?
Well, firstly, let's think of a game that only focused on one type of player.
Okay.
Wildstar.
Okay.
Right, and what happened there?
Well, let's look at something that's not so extreme as only hardcore raiders. That was a pretty rough one to pick in the first place, because that was already an incredibly small subset of players. Let's look at the majority. Let's look at just the casual players. Like, you outright say this is a game for casual players, and you only develop things that may mildly test you but aren't so over the top, and you make that's what you focus on. You make sure they always have a ton of things to do. But if you're a hardcore raider, if you're a crafter gatherer, those features are dialed back compared to everything else.
Well, if you make a game like that, I feel like you're gonna have a high turnover. You're gonna have a lot of players, but you're not gonna have many sort of people that are around for years and years and years. Which is something you want. You want that for the sake of your community and the quality of your game and the kind of feedback you get. So I think the point you come to is that if you want a game that's viable, a game that's going to last, a game that's going to have lots of people playing it, you do need to cater to a bunch of different people, particularly in the MMO genre. So the way we do it, like you say, we can either have one patch focusing on one type, another patch focusing on another type, or we can give like everyone a little bit each patch. I feel like if we do that, you're going to get everyone complaining. Whereas during the casual patches, you tend to get, well, you don't even get many of the hardcore people complaining, because I feel like most of the hardcore crowd sort of accepts that that's how it happens. But when we get the more hardcore, the raiding patches, the casual players are saying, oh, there's no mid-core, there's nothing for me to do. They would be saying that all the time if we did what you're suggesting there and just drip fed a little bit to everyone each patch. I don't think that would be as good a system.
Okay. I feel like that's adequate answer. Sly, have anything to add on that, since you were the person who brought that point up, kind of?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's, again, this is a game where not everybody's going to be happy. And in both of these instances, like, really, it's a matter of who which majority is going to be the most unhappy, and creating a game where you cater to only one niche, whereas you kind of delve the patches out in terms of a couple of group of niches, and then majorly one niche, i.e. Alexander Savage. Either way, people are going to be unhappy. Like, not everybody's going to be satisfied with it. So, on the whole, we have enough content to where, like, everybody can sort of sustain themselves. You can go off if you're not interested in in-game rating. There are other things you can do. Now, if you've done that stuff and you're that completionist type, bully for you. Good job. But bully. But not everybody is a completionist. So, it's kind of difficult. And I applaud the devs for doing this. It's kind of difficult to create a game for everybody, but
for the most part, they do it. They make everyone happy.
Yeah, for the most part, it's successful with a few minor setbacks, but it's successful.
I think if so we're talking about quality versus time. I feel like that for the most part, this is a game that's done both. We've had really quality patches. We've had them coming out really, really quick. And if every 2 years we get one patch that's a couple of months delayed to sort of pay for the fact that we're getting both quality and speed for all of the rest of the time, I think that's an acceptable price. I think everyone's just got to cop it.
Yeah.
Well, we're also talking about people staying or dropping their sub, and we're talking about, Yoshi P says we don't really have the hardcore fan base. We're talking about Final Fantasy here. Like, this is a series that's been around for, over 20 years. It's got a rich history. It's got a loyal fan base, or I'd like to believe it does. What types of... Then you get into an argument, which Final Fantasy is the best? This one's the best. That one sucks. This one's the
Type
best.
Zero! Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, man.
A drink.
But then you have players. So what kind of players who play Final Fantasy XIV are most likely to stop their subscriptions, regardless of how the content patches are put out? Are there people who just maybe play for the story once they catch up, and then they stop till the next installment because that's what they're interested in, the Final Fantasy story?
Basically those. The types who are done with the in-game content. The ones who really don't have a raid group and are just kind of, sailing on by themselves and have really no aim, because, again, this is an MMO. You kind of need friends to do stuff with. So the people who don't have a raid group or any kind of, FC or anything like that, they're probably going to unsub as well. The ones who aren't really serious about in-game, because 9 out of 10 they're probably waiting on Relic and the new stuff, so they're gonna wait. They're gonna go and unsub, or the ones who I think that's it. The ones who yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, for me,
I think that's fair. I don't really think there's a particular type, to be honest. I mean, we all at some point feel like we're running out of things to do, and we're sort of, inventing things to keep us playing. So I think it's just a case of some people, when they reach that point, they've got better things to do than level in alt or idle in Idleshire, and some people don't. And it's not really it's not like the people who really love Final Fantasy are always going to stick around. The people who don't are not going to stick around. I don't think it's that simple.
So why do each of you play the game? Since we're talking about all this.
Just had to put us on blast.
Nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do. Oh, man.
Wait. Oh, my God. I got my box back. Woo! We did it!
Yeah, I gave him his own box back. I think you've earned it, Sly.
Thank you.
Well done, Sly.
Never mind. Maybe
and I'm Hello.
So why do each of you play the game?
Gameplay. The gameplay, the way it played. Again, first real MMO. So for me, I'm one of those Final Fantasy purists. I've been with the franchise for a good amount of time. So the Final Fantasy name did appeal to me. The lore, but mostly the community. I think for the most part, we all wouldn't be here if the community wasn't awesome. That's why a lot of players came to 14. Even players from other MMOs. They said, I came to this game, it has an awesome community. I just love it here. It's better than insert MMO name here. I think we can all say that for the most part, that we can kind of agree that the community keeps us here.
Mm.
And
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I think what most people are subbing for, as much as they're subbing for content, is they're subbing for a community space. You know what I mean? And the people that have been sticking around for a year or two are, I'd say, exclusively the people that have met some really great people. They've developed a great community. They've fallen in, and it's more about the people to them than it is about the game. And content is great, and running content with people is great. But if I didn't have the people that I run with, I probably wouldn't still be playing.
Fair enough.
What about you? Like, why do you?
I played the game because I made a top 5 vid a while ago. My number one reason was I was a Final Fantasy fanboy. That was the number one reason. Final Fantasy introduced me to MMOs. I moved from 11 to 14. I believed in 14, and I genuinely enjoy the game because guess what? I never played an MMO before that, I could play it and sustain another game with. And I also don't get bored of it at the same time. World of Warcraft I tried playing. I got bored of it and I stopped playing. When I get bored of 14, I still play it every day, almost every day, and I just fill the void with what I can do with other games. And I always keep it there with me. And then my other reason was also the community. They are a very, very strong aspect. It's something that, as you said, a lot of people applaud, and it's something I applaud as well because I'm used to having that community in 11. There was a very strong sense of community there, and it's a reason that keeps me here as well. I can honestly say I wouldn't have played 11 for 7 years if their community wasn't good, because I didn't have as much fun playing the game as I could have.
So the reason you play Final Fantasy XIV has got nothing to do with the lynch mob that would come after you if you stop playing.
Dude, I streamed Blade and Soul over the weekend. You know how many times I had to answer that question? You quit? You quit 14?
Every time you play anything else, yeah.
Yeah, you're not on 14. This isn't 14.
See, here's the thing. That also happens because sometimes Twitch sends out an email with the last game that was on your title as opposed to the upgraded one, so people come. Right. When that one happens, I kind of expect it. Realistically, okay, so I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy. I got my start in the series with Final Fantasy. I saw a friend play Final Fantasy VII. I first played Final Fantasy VIII. Was my entry into it. I had never heard of the series before. I had never known the series. All the games I owned were hand-me-downs until my N64, pretty much. And N64 didn't have Final Fantasy games on it, so until I got a PlayStation, I didn't know what the hell it was. What was your entry into the series, Sly?
Well, there were no... Sly, you go. You go, Sly. Go on. Mwah.
6.
You're not all in the same box anymore. You're still trying to kiss him.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, mine was 6. SNES.
Proud of you.
Terrace theme.
Proud of you.
Nice.
Just made it.
That's my favorite one.
We all know my favorite one.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying, Sly. I'm really trying.
At this?
I'm being really patient with it.
Really?
So, yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So, the PAL region SNES, so that's here, England, probably a couple of other places. We didn't get any Final Fantasy games on the SNES, which is something that I've hated ever since because I collect SNES games. So my first entry was 7. I think I was probably a bit too young for it because I was like, what is this? And then I played 8 and I played 10. And honestly, after 10, I didn't really... I absolutely loved 10. I was addicted to 10. I pretty sure I 100% at 10, probably put like 400 hours into it. And then after 10, 11 wasn't viable because, you know, Dinosaur Island. And as like 12 and 13 came out, I was like, this isn't really high fantasy anymore. It's a lot more kind of cyberpunk. And it interested me a little bit less than 10 did. And then when 14 came around, I was sort of in between MMOs. I'd given up on the Old Republic, and I was waiting for Elder Scrolls, of all things. I was like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is pretty great. Yeah, I'll try that out. And I was just instantly hooked. It's, yeah, all about that high fantasy feeling.
Okay, so we're talking about this great community. We're talking about things that kept us here, what got us into the series. I feel for you on that Elder Scrolls comment, by the way, because I really wanted to like Elder Scrolls Online also. Didn't happen. Oh, and he's gone! Sly's going to lose his box again.
No! My box!
No, your box is going to be gone. And when if he disconnects from the call again, I'm putting him back in your box. That's all you need to know. All right. It all seemed to be going so well. All right, so I kind of want to wait for him to come back, but at the same time, I want to continue with the show. So, we've been talking about the community. We've been talking about how we got into it. But that doesn't stop people from... Oh, you're going to lose your box here in 2 seconds. That doesn't stop people from expressing what they like or dislike about the game by voting with their wallet for the most part. Would you recommend that people sort of voice their opinions just through their wallet silently, or keep going with the game but voice it very loudly on open forums?
The option. Again, you're going to do either or. But if you're going to voice it on the open forums, like, loudly probably wouldn't be the best way to do it. The beauty of this, another good part about this game is, and it's something else that I really like about this game, is for the first time, I really feel close to the devs. Even though I did have dinner with the devs one time at TwitchCon.
I know, I was there.
Yeah, we were there.
You act like that was so long ago.
I know. High five. But yeah, this game gives you an open forum with the devs. Like, not a lot of games do that. They're really, I can only count on one hand the number of games that do that. And like outlets like this, what we're doing right now, podcast, you know, the Lodestone, Reddit. You see how I said that?
Hey, there's information there.
Yeah. But yeah, this is one of the few games that allows us to kind of be close to the devs. Give us that open forum with the devs.
Welcome back, Ethys.
Welcome back.
Just as I gave him his own box, but now no, you're sharing a box again.
Let me scoot over. But yeah, this is one of the few games that gives us this forum, this open forum with the devs, that we can kind of express what we like, what we don't like, what we want to see. And I feel like we should, and right now we're doing a good job of using that to our advantage. And if you're going to vote with your wallet, do that. But if you have any issues with the game, you know, voice your opinion. But don't be a dick about it. Please. There's a tactful way to do it. Just voice your opinion, but voice it tactfully.
Just to get Ethys caught up, we're talking about voting with your wallet versus expressing like or dislike on the forums. I'll bring this to you then, Ethys. What about both? Should you know, you don't agree with something, you unsub it at the same time, you still go on the forums and you voice your opinion.
Well, here's the thing with voicing your opinion. If you're being sincere and you're sincerely upset, and as Sly says, if you are going to be a dick about it, then your opinion means nothing. The devs aren't going to pay any attention to someone who's spouting off about, oh, this is bullshit and you owe me this and you owe me that and fuck you guys. It's not going to have any impact on them. It doesn't matter. You may as well write absolutely nothing. So if you're going to do that, just unsub and just fuck off for a couple of months, you know? If you've got nothing constructive or novel to say, you are perfectly entitled to unsub and not be paying for it. But in terms of your opinion and in terms of the vitriol that you pour onto Reddit and onto the official forums, just fuck off. It's not contributing anything. It's not helpful. Whereas if you are going to do both constructively. Say this is why, this is the things that I'd like to see fixed. Have a proper pluralistic discussion about it, and that's all you can do.
That's going to be our quote for the night. Unsub and fuck off for a few months. There we go. That reminds me of an old video I remember, the history of the F word. Classic video, and that's why you're sharing a box. Classic video where they use it in one sense. It's like, why don't you go outside and play hide and go fuck yourself?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines of all time, and you just made me relive it.
What about make like a leaf and fuck off?
Yeah, that's another one.
Make like a tree and fuck off, I should say.
Yeah, make like just the leaf. Forget the tree.
Just the leaf, yeah.
All right. So with people, some people leaving, some people staying. Will the loss of a certain group of player subscriptions affect the overall success of the game? Would it behoove players to care about the title's success at all in any way, shape, or form? Sly?
If we didn't care, would we be here right now?
Us. We're not talking about us. We're talking about other people.
What's happening
I'm just speaking about the majority though. Would the game be here right now? If we really collectively did not give a shit, 2.0 wouldn't have been successful. 2.0 would have been the same outcome as 1.0. So
nothing has the same outcome as 1.0. I just want to stop you right there. That is a dark place.
It's a dark place, but I'm just saying if we collectively did not give a shit, we said fuck it. 1.0 is coming back. They're trying to bring 1.0 back. It's not happening. If we just said fuck it, I don't care, we wouldn't be right here right now. We wouldn't be right here talking about this because the game wouldn't have been successful. So I think we do care. I think collectively we do care. Now, in terms of the group of players, a certain group of players unsubbing, I don't think it's going to determine the success or failure of this game. I feel like you're just talking about a handful in terms of the 4 million subs that are, unsubbing and then coming back. It's not going to determine the failure or success. The community's here. We're here. But that doesn't mean that we're going to blindly support Square Enix. We're smarter than that. I would like to believe that we're smarter than that. Even in the Rising, they even said we've been at odds. We've been at odds, but we've come back to create a beautiful thing. They said that in the Rising. And in the end, because of this community and because of the open forums, we're at the point we're at right now. So a handful of players who unsub isn't going to make or break this game. It's not. And in terms of, caring about the success of this game, we already do. If you didn't care, if you didn't care about the success of this game, again, 3.0 would not have happened.
Fair enough. So, we covered that. I want to go back and ask you guys something real quick, because this is an issue that gets brought up a lot too. How often do you log in a week? Each of you?
4 to 5 times a week. So pretty much basically a work week.
Work week. Okay. Ethys?
I'd log in every day. I'd say at least a couple of those is me logging on and going, what? Why did I fucking... I don't want to log on. What am I doing? It's just like motor reflex. I'd sort of play for at least an hour. I'd say definitely 4 or 5 days a week.
So, because the big reason why that's a question is people have a hard time justifying the dollar, even if they enjoy the game and if they support it. Again, they have a hard time justifying the dollar based on the hours that we play. And, I mean, let's be real here. The amount of, you can't use the argument that, oh, I make this much an hour, therefore my time of entertainment is valued at the same. People value their time for entertainment far higher than what what they actually maybe make an hour. I make $40 an hour, so I don't mind. I can play the game for 30 minutes a day and be okay. No, nobody fucking does that.
Right.
So people are always wondering how to stretch their dollar, get the most out of their investment. is it wise to force yourself to try this other content just because it's there, or should they just stick to their primary interests and, you know, probably end up hitting that point where they want to drop the game for a month or two?
Well, if you haven't tried it at all, then, you know, go for it. I mean, there's plenty of things like crafting and gathering. You know, a lot of people think, oh, yeah, it's just crafting, gathering, whatever, not into that. And then they do it and they get hooked. So you don't know whether you're into it or not if you haven't given it yet. There we go, Sly. You don't know whether you're into it or not if you haven't given it a go. If you do make yourself give something a go, like another class or a craft or a gather or whatever, and after a couple of hours you're like, nah, fuck this, then fine, whatever. But people who say X is a load of crap, I'm not going to sub for X, when they've never even tried it, it's like, you just shut up. Just
so harsh.
I like harsh Ethys.
Yeah, I know that's YouTube doesn't like him later, but it's okay because we love him.
No, that's
we love him.
YouTube's like, at this, shut up.
You know, you shut up.
I'm gonna be looking for that comment tomorrow, where at this just comments back saying, no, you shut up.
You shut up.
Don't do that.
I'll do. You know,
made me. Yeah, I know you'll do it. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything wrong with just not trying it at all? Like, just, I mean, yeah, you've never tried it before, but what if it's something you've done in like every other MMO and you just, whatever.
There's
like,
nothing.
Or what if you have an inability to try it? Like, let's say you can't get a static for Savage for whatever reason. You know, you want to do it.
It's fine.
You want to do it.
That's a fine way to qualify it.
And you put yourself out there, but it just never comes to fruition. And that's it. You don't even want to try anymore.
Yeah, that sucks. And, you know, unsub or whatever, but don't complain to the devs that they're not making content for you. You know what I mean?
It's all about the experience.
Like that's a crappy thing, and some people get stuck in a kind of hard place where they want to be doing content that they can't do. And yeah, I mean, there's probably things that Square Enix could do to make it more accessible to them. But when they conflate one-to-one their experience with what is being developed, then, you know, if you're not enjoying something, just take responsibility for the fact that you're not enjoying certain aspects of the game. You know what I mean? That's okay. That's all you need to do. You don't need to blame anyone else.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to Ethys' point, a few minutes ago, he took the words right out of my mouth. This game is about choice, and with it's a two-way street. Like, you're gonna have to bring something to the table yourself. The devs made this game; they gave it to you. Have fun. It's almost like a sandbox in the fact that you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Now, if you don't put in the time and the effort into it, and you come out saying it's shit, that's your fucking fault. Sorry.
Strangely, when you said sandbox, now I want to build a giant manipulator in Minecraft.
Yes.
I don't know why. That was the first thing, because I immediately thought, when I thought sandbox, I thought, can I just build a better fight for A4? Can I just build a better fight if it's a sandbox? What about, okay, so there's one type of player we haven't really spoken about, and I saw this joke in the chat a little while ago. What about the people who treat the game like a $13 chat box? $13 a month chat box, pretty much. You know, they log in socially, they just talk to people, that's all they do.
That's totally legit.
Yeah. Okay. It's a choice. It's a way to play the game. It's
we traded. Okay. He's back.
But yeah, it's a way to play the game. That's going back to something I've been saying for the longest time. Everybody pays their own goddamn subscription. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's all about choice.
Choice.
But what if you treated it like a chat box and you didn't feel like you were sort of being pandered to enough? You didn't think that you were getting better features for your chat box. What would you do about it? Is that Square Enix's problem, or is that your problem?
That's a you problem. That's
Why?
mostly
Why?
a you problem. Really? Are we really?
I mean, that's a significant demographic. It's not a huge demographic, but it is a significant
demographic.
Yeah.
But they've made peace with it. I would assume that you've made peace with how your experience is going to be just strictly by chatting. You've made peace with it. You know what you're getting into, and if you feel like you're not getting enough out of it, that's you. That's you. This is the way you wanted to play the game, and if you just say, "Well, I'm done," just because of that, that's you. Sorry, Boo Boo.
Hey, Boo Boo, let's see what's in this picnic basket. Tell the other bears what you saw. All right, so I think we can pretty much just get the point for Sly. Sly says, "Do whatever you want. Live your life.
You do you.
You do you, Boo Boo." There we go. And Ethys says, "If you don't like it, fuck off." That's
Whoa. Yeah, all right, fine. I like that.
There's a few more stipulations in there.
No one cares about the stipulations. Come on.
No, that's the only part that matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry. I just remember I'll be looking in the YouTube comment section tomorrow. Well, this was something that we really should have delved into more last week that I'm glad we managed to talk about this week, especially because we got to have Ethys join, and I immediately knew, I was like, if we're talking about this with Ethys, oh man, those YouTube sharks are going to eat him alive.
Oh, I
So
love
Ethys, what do you have to say to the YouTube sharks?
it. Sit on my face.
Isn't that... What
No,
if,
it just works. It works. I told that to someone in
Sitting
one
on
of
your
my
face
videos,
works?
and they were like, you know what? Yeah, I will sit on your face, and then everything's okay. We'll just all sit on each other's faces. It dilutes all the salts.
I don't like the Human
set it
Centipede
all out
as a
of our
movie.
system.
I don't like the Human Centipede. I don't
We're
want
not
to...
stitching it together. It's it's just a ritual. It's just an Ethys ritual.
It's voluntary. It's an Ethys ritual. I don't even know. I don't know.
I love you, YouTube. I fucking love you.
There you go. See, Ethys loves you. Ethys loves you. On that note, guys, we are going to be wrapping up here. Hopefully you all enjoyed the topic of conversation. Hopefully it helped enlighten you a little bit as to our thoughts. Personally, I didn't get to do too much talk in this video, so I'll just wrap up and say that if you like the game, support it. If you don't like something about it, don't support it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Cash App. I don't spend my personal money on it, but I'll, take what people give to me and give it back to them via that. So if anything, all I'm doing is making the best out of a bad situation, something I don't agree with. And I think everyone can do the same. I think anybody can make the best out of a bad situation. There's always something to do whenever there's a lull in content. There will be more lulls in the future. If a month and a half makes or breaks you, just need to reevaluate and determine what you can do with that extra month and a half. That's my thing. So what do you say we wrap up and we go to post-show, guys?
Okay.
I also know Ethys has, well, I don't know what he has anymore because just haven't seen his
What do I have?
I don't know. Your internet has chlamydia by the looks of it. That's all I gotta say.
Really? Don't do it. Please stop. No.
Not again.
Yeah.
Not again.
Yeah.
Especially with Ethys making that sound. Now I'm convinced. All right. So on that note, Ethys, thank you for being our guest this week. For everyone who doesn't know, Ethys is a monthly guest, which means he will be back next month, which means we should already be into 3.1. So that should be a pretty good episode to have you on, Ethys.
Pretty good talking point.
Pretty good talking point. I think it is. It won't be Aerzivia right away. We need to give you more time to come up with 3.1
We need to, oh, come on. We need to give you more time to fucking pay attention.
Hey, I
the
won.
dialogue.
All right.
By 1 fucking point again. That's
yeah, but it's a case of 2 being a higher number than 1. You know what I mean?
He's saying you tried carrying, I guess. I don't know. Because Pook and I, you know what I learned? Ethys, I literally went back into dungeons that week. All the dungeons that were on the list, literally every weapon you asked me about were the only weapons that dropped. And I was like, oh, we were right.
Trust.
Oh, wow, we were right about this being in this place. Oh, yeah, it does drop here. Oh, man. Oh. I've been wearing my prize proudly on my ninja, by the way. The
Good.
golden sublugar.
Good.
It lives on.
I'm proud of you.
All right, so Ethys, again, thank you for being a guest on the show. Why don't you tell everyone as they look at your loading screen?
Is it big Ethys? Is it
Yeah,
big Ethys?
it's big loading screen Ethys. Ethys,
Yeah.
Ethys the load
The
screen
circle.
Asher. Yeah, it's just a little circle in the middle of the screen.
All right. Well, if any of you actually, oh my god.
You just saw it just caught up to live, didn't it?
Yeah. Considering you're all so impressed with the quality of the stuff that I produce, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/EthysAsher. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EthysAsher, doing some absolutely beautiful 540p fucking 10 frames a second streaming. So that's good fun. Or you can catch me on Twitter at FFXIV. And like Mike says, I will see you guys next month. Not in 3 weeks, not in 2 weeks, next month, and we'll fucking slap Skype around between now and then. Thanks for coming by.
I want to make this the thumbnail for the video. I won't, but I want to make this the thumbnail for the video. So bad. 540p. Sly. Sly, why don't you tell? Look, and now Sly's is all thrown off. Everything is destroyed. All of my hard work.
Big Sly's thrown off, really?
Yeah, Big Sly is thrown off.
God damn it.
Okay, I fixed it. All right, Sly, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Slyh, aka Greyfox, aka The Velvet Room, or Marges.
They can't see your shirt. The proportions are off. There you go.
There we go. That's March. You can find me on Instagram at Sly, aka Greyfox07. You can find me on Twitter at Slythefox. You can find me in Behemoth, Plot 14, Ward 5 of the Lavender Beds, aka the Foxhole. Yeah.
You always see. That's why I always do the strip club thing. Because when you're done introducing the foxhole, you look at us awkward and you just like silently stare, like, "Oh yeah, that's y'all already know."
That's some furry shit.
I want somebody to make a GIF of that, like nod Sly just did. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Get on it. Get on it, YouTube. Get on it, Twitter. Get on it, Crayon and Chad.
Yeah, Crayon's probably already on.
Crayon and Chad. All right. And I am your other host, Michael, Mr. Happy Poparomo. You can find me at Mr. Happy1227, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. If you just search it, you'll find it. But if you want the direct link, it is youtube.com/Xehanort1227. Somebody asked me about that. Like, why do you say Xehanort1227? It's because that's what the actual hyperlink is, because I made it however many years ago, and you can't change it once you make it on YouTube. When are you getting an official link at this? Isn't yours still some, like, crazy fucking long link that is, like...
Yeah, I tried, but they won't let me.
Did you need to set it up? Don't you need to set it up with, like, social media before they'll let you do it?
Yep. Yeah, I did that, and they give me the vanity link, EthysAsher, but they won't change the proper link. They don't do that anymore. They say once it is what it is, it is. Too bad. It's shit.
Well, either way, so you're saying if I told somebody to go to you at EthysAsher, it would still go there, it just wouldn't actually, it would just change it to the, okay, good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, because, you know, it does, I don't know, the display is different. There we go.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it still links it.
But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for us. We are going to go over to post-show where we don't have to look at that spinning circle of death anymore. Well, at least you guys don't. And thank you, everyone, for coming by. We'll see you next week.
Bye!
I'm sure Ethys is doing something. So Ethys could be naked right now, and we wouldn't even know.
It could be.
Could be. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
It's a script club.
Oh, Sly.
I just say, script club. I was like, ain't nothing wrong going to a script club. Ain't no sin going to a script club.
And that is when